Hello and good afternoon. I'm back. This is Dave Edelstein here for Better Than Before, talking about all things to do with communication, mindfulness, relating, getting along, and just being a nice person. So yes, I'm back. I'm back from a trip to Florida, northern Florida. I spent part of a day in Orlando. I spent part of a day in Gainesville. I spent a couple of days in lovely Hawthorne, Florida, a little town outside of Gainesville, where my daughter, who is the older of my two children, went ahead and got married over the weekend on Earth Day, which I like to feel is a special nod out to her bio teacher dad, bio teacher, former EPA employee dad. It was nice of my daughter and her now husband. I have to stop calling him her boyfriend. My daughter and her husband to make their wedding on Earth Day. It'll make it easy for me to remember, and it will make me feel good about their environmental consciousness. And in fact, in reflecting on this at all, oh, hello, Aunt Joyce. I'm glad you got to tune in on this. And hola, Susie. Glad to have visitors on this sort of early afternoon talk. I usually do this a little later in the day, but for lighting purposes, it turns out that it's really much better for me to do it now. You can actually see me. I don't look like I'm sitting in the dark, which I never actually did, but it kind of looked that way. So yeah, so they went ahead and got married on Earth Day, which, I think goes to show their overall consciousness. Here I am, 60-year-old adult, feeling mostly outclassed in the maturity and adulthood department by my daughter and her husband. But then again, I mostly felt outclassed in that department in many regards since my daughter was very small. She's always been this extremely judicious, thoughtful, wise person. Even when she was very little, she exuded these qualities. To some extent, I feel like she's a replay of my mother. Not a reincarnation because my mother, fortunately, is still alive, but my mother is also an extremely judicious, wise, thoughtful, caring, thinking kind of person. And here I have a daughter who's just like that also. So yeah, sometimes I wonder when I will be the adult in the room, and then I just kind of give up on that because it's not really an achievable goal. So I just go along, doing what I can do to help others live a more thoughtful and adult life because I can recognize these things, even though I cannot produce them 100% of the time. I am imperfect. I think this is an important thing for anyone in the coaching field to say right away. Yes, of course I'm imperfect. Everyone is. Sometimes our imperfections are magnified in the presence of certain people who are good at certain things we're not as good at, but it doesn't mean that I can't cough up a good opinion now and then, or certainly it doesn't mean that I can't ask the right questions. That's one thing I'm very good at. I definitely know when a thought or a behavior ought to be questioned and examined more fully. Let's return to the wedding theme. Yeah, the wedding was really lovely. It happened on Sunday, and as Yadira and I were driving over to the wedding, there was a lot of rain, really pretty heavy, and it had just started, and it was really enough to make one wonder what was going to happen because the wedding was outdoors by the lakeside at my yeah, there isn't a word for this in English, but my consuegro's house or my majatonester's house, my co-in-law's house. So this beautiful spot by the lake, but it was raining really pretty hard. And when we got to his house, we, sort of moved inside fairly quickly and wondered what would happen next. Hi, Gail. Hola, Carlos. Oh, Simone, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. So, we're wondering what's going to happen. It's raining, and the family's starting to gather. And um, two of my three brothers were there. One, unfortunately, for a variety of reasons, was not able to make it. He lives even farther away than I do, so that was a part of it. Um, but yes, there was my brother Steve, elegantly tying his own bow tie. I could never wear a bow tie unless it was clip on. I can't really handle these things. I did tie my own normal, regular tie. The tie was a tie of my dad's. As you may know from listening to my videos, my dad is very ill and not able to travel and not really very much aware of his surroundings. But I was proud to wear a tie of his. My father was always quite an elegant dresser, and I was proud to wear a tie of his to this event. Have a little of his presence with me, because during the wedding ceremony, I was allowed to read the seven blessings of the wedding, traditional Jewish blessings of the wedding day. Um, uh, so yes, it was nice for me to be able to wear my dad's tie. My brother did the officiating in his, as I said, his own hand-tied bow tie with flamingos on it, in which he matched his son. The two of them there made quite an elegant pair of flamingo-studded bow tie wearing sorts. He did a very nice wedding speech based on a quote of Mark Twain's about the magnitude of the day in one's life. And yeah, let's roll with that for a moment. What's a wedding day? What is this? What is this for? To stand up in front of your friends and family and say, "Yes, this is it. I believe I've found the person with whom it would be most appropriate for me to spend the rest of my life." I know that wedding vows don't mean today what they did when my parents took them, for example, some 62 or 63 years ago. Count that out. I think 62 years ago, my parents got married. When they married for life, they sure did. They have been married this year 62 years. And even though my father can't really participate as he would wish anymore, or as my mother would wish him to anymore, there they are, they're together. I also know how fragile wedding vows can be. I made wedding vows, which I did try very hard to live up to, and could not make my own first marriage survive. Things happen. People get frustrated. People's needs are not met. People give up. And what seemed so enormous on one day, another day, 8, 10, maybe fewer years later, somehow just doesn't count anymore. It doesn't seem like a big enough deal. But as I sat and I watched Maya and Walker take their vows, it did seem like a big deal. These are two young people who have a tremendous love and respect and affection for each other. They each read letters to each other describing how important the other one was to them. And it wasn't all about, "Oh, I love you so much." It was much more, the two of them, about you force me to grow. You force me to be better than I think I can be. And then I'm that good, and I realize how much you helped in achieving that. So I think as I watch the two of them, they're on a wonderful track. I've suggested elsewhere that what really makes a marriage work is that in essence, each partner is the other's best coach and cheerleader. I'm trying to work out a program where that would sort of come together and make more sense. Maybe someone will beat me to it, having heard this, and good luck. Go for it. But yes, these are two young people who really bring out the best in each other and expressed it to continue to do that. So yeah, as I sat there and pondered my own marital history, I realized again how in so many ways my daughter is so much more the adult in our relationship than I am. So yeah, it was a wonderful day. The rain stopped. The sun broke through. The sun broke through the clouds magnificently at any number of points during the marriage ceremony, and the rain completely stopped. We ate dinner in a tent, and many toasts were made. Wonderful things were said, cleverly, brilliantly, emotionally, caringly. I sang a song that I wrote. I thought about singing the song to you, and then decided that you don't need to be exposed to my musical efforts in this location. Some other day, some other time, perhaps. Oh, thanks so much for joining me here, Gary and Lance and Samuel and Payman. Thanks so much for being here. So yeah, reflections on a wedding. Well, why do people get married? Are they really grown up enough for it? Are they ready to make those adult commitments? Are they ready to be the person the other person needs them to be? Are they prepared to grow? Are they prepared to confront the rainstorm and somehow have faith that it will blow over before things really matter? Will they do the best they can for each other and for themselves? Do they realize that by doing the best for each other, they are doing the best for themselves? Yeah, watching my daughter get married gave me a lot to think about. The passage of time, how people grow, what they become, and what they are prepared to offer to another person. So, yes, thanks for tuning in. I hope you've gotten something out of this, which is really more a reflection of my experience. And I'll be back tomorrow talking again about relating and communicating and getting along and growing. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again. Hi, Andrew. Thanks for tuning in.